Hello everyone, it is Holly and I am here with a video that I thought might be a little helpful because I'm in several Disney groups and a lot of time on like Facebook and stuff. And a lot of times what I see is new people come in, they have a trip planned or something like that, and people will either they're asking questions or in general they're just reading people's comments. And what I see happens a lot is this thing where if you are in the Disney world, like parks world and everything, is you have a tendency to default to acronyms or shortened phrases, or the Disney company just uses terms that you may not know. They're like not naturally intuitive. And so I thought maybe I would do like a Disney glossary, like a Walt Disney World glossary. Terms and acronyms that you might see commonly. Now, this is by no means an exhaustive list. There are so many abbreviations and things like that that you'll come across. A lot of people will abbreviate parks, rides, things like that. We are not going into that kind of detail, but these ones I think will come up a lot if you are trip planning. So I thought I would do this. Also, it is actually nice out here today. I live in New York and it's like 70 degrees and I am living for it. So I have my windows cracked and I live on a pretty major road. So there's a lot of road noise and you may be able to hear it, but I am not giving up the potential fresh air, the potential warmth, the potential airing out of my home for this. So you will just have to deal with that and I am sorry. The first one I want to talk about is My Disney Experience, or MDE. Now, My Disney Experience is the Disney mobile app. This is what you do not have to use in Walt Disney World, but I do recommend if you have a smartphone that you do download it and that every member of your party that has a smartphone download it. It is their mobile app. In there, you can link your tickets, your hotel reservations. This is where you will make lightning lanes. We'll get there. And everything. You can see your day, you can see wait times, you can scan, like you can, scan is the right word, scan into your hotel room if you're staying on property. You can also get directions on here. I don't think they're the best, but you can in fact get directions, like walking directions to certain areas, and you can mobile order food on here. Which is one of the reasons I recommend that everybody in your party that has a smartphone use this, is especially for mobile order, either if you are not sharing payment methods, but also just to make it easier sometimes, like when you're looking at food, like you can look while the other person is placing their orders and then you know exactly what you want and you can tell them. Next is, this one is weird because currently Disney is calling it like Lightning Lane Multi-Pass, but you might hear people call it Fast Pass, Genie, Fast Pass Plus, Genie Plus, Lightning Lanes, any of those things. These are all various names, even though Disney has a certain name for it now, for the same basic concept. And it is a reservation-like system for specific rides in each of their theme parks, where you will pick a time to ride that ride. It's a 1 hour long window. Technically you have a buffer on either side, and you can then go and mostly skip the line for that ride or attraction. There are also limitations to like when you can make these reservations, which attractions you can make them for. Not every attraction has them, but also the attractions are broken down into different tiers. There's all kinds of things. I'm not going to get into it that much right now. I just want you to know that all of these terms at the end of the day mean the same thing. And I do recommend learning more about Lightning Lane. I don't think you need it necessarily depending on when you're going and depending on the park. Like I definitely wouldn't recommend it for Epcot, except in very specific scenarios or times of year. But if you want information on Lightning Lanes, I'm happy to do a video, but I feel like I don't go enough to adequately educate you. And so I would refer you to like All Ears Net, their YouTube channel. I'll link it below if I remember. They have tons of videos talking about it, and I think that they do a really good job. Next are two related terms, and that is standby. Standby is when you are riding a ride without a Lightning Lane or a multi-pass, a Genie Plus, a Fast Pass. It is the regular line that you're going to be waiting in. If you go look at an attraction, a lot of times you'll see two kind of clock like things on there. One will usually be an actual clock. That is going to be your fast pass. Ooh, I've been around a long time. One is going to be your Lightning Lane return time. It's going to tell you the current time, and if your window for Lightning Lane is in there, you can go through that entry. The other one is going to say standby, and that's for everybody else, the rest of us. And it's going to give you a wait time, and that is Disney's predicted or estimated wait time from that until basically the start of a pre-show. Every attraction is a little bit different when they would say that their wait time ends. So there's certain things where you might wait in line like kind of like multiple times as you go through different things, because there's like a pre-show, like my beloved dinosaur, which will be going extinct soon. You have a line, and then you go into a room where you watch a little briefing video with the wonderful Dr. Grant Seeker and Dr. Marsh. Not ready to say goodbye. Where they will talk to you about the ride, what it is, give you some like safety spiel, and then you will go into like another shorter line right before you get on the actual attraction. Disney would stop that wait time counter when you are getting into that room to watch that little video. But technically there is waiting after that. But the standby is just that regular line. Now, speaking of lines, for some reason, they're called queues. Now, I do believe that queue is pretty common in like the UK as a term for a line, but for some reason, Disney adopted it. Maybe it was more popular when the Disney parks were created. I have no idea. But instead of saying line, a lot of people say queue. They're the same thing. Same thing. Just different words. Next is a CM, first abbreviation. Well, my Disney experience. Who says MDE though, really? But CM or cast member. This is a Disney employee. Pretty much everybody, yes, everybody who works for Disney is a cast member. And a huge part of that is they say that they are part of the cast because the whole thing is a show like in Disney World. And so every cast member is going to be wearing the same name tag. So they're very easy to identify. Some cast members, I assume they're more in like management roles, will be wearing like plain clothes, but they'll still have a cast member name tag so that you know who they are. Next is a park hopper. So Disney tickets are pretty semi-complicated. I don't think they're as complicated as they used to be, at least if you are a US customer. I can't speak to international customers and how all of their options are, but one of the big things is that you can add something called a park hopper. So typically when you're buying a theme park ticket or a multi-day ticket for, like say, a 5-day vacation, you are buying entry into one park per day of your vacation. So the 4 parks are Magic Kingdom, Epcot, Disney's Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom. Why do I say Disney's Hollywood Studios but not Disney's Animal Kingdom when it definitely is Disney's Animal Kingdom? I don't know. But if you want to be able to go between different parks or hop between them, you would need to add a Disney park hopper to your pass. Next is another park or ticket related term, and that is AP or annual pass. So an annual pass might be kind of self-explanatory. It is where you have an annual pass ticket to Disney World. And there are different tiers of this, which we're not going to go into, that just limit like what days you can and cannot go in. But basically you pay a set amount. I actually renewed mine today. And with that, you are able to attend the park to any of the 4 Disney theme parks whenever you want, asterisks, over the course of a 12-month calendar period, or the 12 months. So I renewed mine today. I will scan in May when I get there, and then my pass will expire 1 year from when I scanned it. Next is DVC or Disney Vacation Club. Again, not going into a ton of detail here, but this is Disney's timeshare program. I am personally a member. I have some videos talking about my experience purchasing DVC and staying in DVC resorts, but it is their timeshare program, and a lot of the deluxe resorts offer villas. So the villas are typically suites, but there are studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, and like grand villa, 3-bedroom options typically at each of the resorts, sort of. Now you do not need to own DVC or Disney Vacation Club in order to stay in these rooms. You can rent them with cash, or alternatively, there are other options for you we're not going into today, but you will see in every theme park a like booth advertising DVC, at least one, so you know what it is. You can go over and talk to those people if you want. They might offer to set up a meeting with you and a sales guide. You do not have to do that, but you can get some information on DVC, but that's what it is if you ever see it walking around. Next is PhotoPass or Memory Maker. So Disney does offer a photo taking service. So they take your photo on several of the rides. That is the only thing I really like. I don't love having my picture taken. I'm working on it. I'm working on seeing myself and appreciating myself and not being grossed out by my appearance. So yes. But they do have PhotoPass cast members. I believe at this point they are all switched over to wearing like green shirts, and they are throughout the theme parks, and you will see them. They'll have cameras. They'll take your picture, usually at major landmarks, at character meet and greets, things like that. Now, you can get these pictures for free. Like, you can have your picture taken for free at any of these PhotoPass cast members. They can scan your Magic Band, they can scan your phone, they can give you a PhotoPass card. Same with on the rides. If you like have your Bluetooth enabled on the ride, they will link to your account. Now, what you need to do is buy Memory Maker in order to actually have these pictures without a watermark. And then you can either download them from your phone, you can place an order online for like a USB stick, something like that. You can buy them, I think, printed on like calendars or mouse pads or mugs. I've never done that, but you can do those things. But you have to actually pay to get copies of them without a watermark, but you can see them ahead of time. You can also buy them individually if you want. So PhotoPass is the service that is going to be taking your picture, and then Memory Maker is the thing that you have to purchase in order to have your pictures. Now, if you have an annual pass like I do, you can pay to add Memory Maker to your annual pass, and so that gives me the opportunity to download my pictures, which I do happen to pay that additional like $90 or $100 a year for that. For your trip, you're going to want to just look up what Memory Maker is going to cost you. I've never paid for it outside of my annual pass. What I will tell you is it's usually cheaper if you buy it ahead of time, but it is pretty pricey. You used to also be able to share it amongst like family and friends, and I think they've really cracked down on that. Next is a term, I don't know if people still use this term, but I threw it in here just in case you hear it, and that is an ADR, which is short for, or an abbreviation for Advanced Dining Reservation. And this is basically just making a dining reservation. I feel like everybody just says dining reservation now. And it's what it sounds like. You're just making a reservation at certain sit-down restaurants. There are timelines on when you can do this. Typically it is 60 days out from your reservation, or like when you're going to be in Disney World, but depending on if you are staying at a Disney hotel or off, you might have some more flexibility with your reservations. Next is Magic Band and Magic Band Plus. I should have brought one with me to show you, but I'll put in a picture if I remember, of a Magic Band. It is a band you wear on your wrist. And typically you can do other things. You can like take it apart. People will put it on like their Apple Watch, or you can get these like little keychain things. I just wear it on my wrist like I do my Fitbit. I just wear it over here. And it is an RFID enabled device that allows you to get into access your room key, your park ticket. If you set up a PIN, you can use it to charge to your hotel room for food, merchandise, that kind of stuff. If you are using Lightning Lanes, you will use this to scan in when you enter the Lightning Lane entry at the attraction. And also it will, if you have a Magic Band Plus, which is a device that you have to actually charge, and if you are using one and you want to use these features, I do recommend just charging it every single night. It dies pretty quickly. You do not need to charge it to like get into your room, get into the park or anything, but to use these bonus features. So the bonus features are like, it'll light up during the fireworks. It will buzz in certain areas. Like it kind of does like this like heartbeat thing in the Haunted Mansion. You can play a game in Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios with it, but it needs to be charged in order to utilize those features. Magic Bands and Magic Band Plus are something you have to pay for. There was a time when Disney did not make you pay for it if you stayed on property, but now you have to pay for it. You can buy them ahead of time if you're staying on property. Well, I guess you could buy them ahead of time no matter what. But they offer you a discount if you purchase them ahead of time, and they'll mail them like to your house if you're staying on property, or you can buy one in the parks when you get there, and then you just link it to your smartphone and your ticket and everything. You do not need, if you're going on multiple trips, you do not need multiples. I haven't bought one in quite a while. I just use old ones. Next is DAS, D-A-S. This is Disney's Disability Access Service. And this is a tool, a system that Disney has in order to help those who in certain situations can't wait in line. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this because I've never used it. Also, there have been a lot of changes over the last year. There's a lot of controversy. But in theory, at its base, it is an option, it's a type of skip the line service for people who can't wait in line. They're not necessarily skipping the line in the way that you might normally think. They are just waiting outside of the line before riding the ride. But it is an option available to you. It's something you're gonna want, if you think it's something that might apply to you or a member in your party, you're gonna wanna look into this, because you're gonna want to, you have to get pre-qualified for it basically ahead of time. So definitely do some research. Next is DDP, which I feel like I never hear anybody say, but you see it a lot in the parks, which is the Disney Dining Plan. This recently came back. I have personally never done the Disney Dining Plan. It honestly seems like too much food for me, but it is a service where you basically prepay for your food. There's different levels of it that cost different amounts, but basically you get credits, snack credits, and then credits to use at different types of restaurants. For each day of your hotel stay at Disney World, you do have to be staying on Disney World property in order to use this service. And then you just turn that in instead of cash. So I think a lot of people, what they like about it is that it's prepaid. It's something they don't have to think about when they're on vacation. They're like, I've already spent that money, who cares? And when you're looking at a menu, you will see a little DTP logo. It's purple. I think it's still purple. And those are items that are eligible for the Disney Dining Plan. Of course, any cast member can help you with that. And typically they're gonna ask you, like if you're eating at a restaurant, they'll probably ask you when you're checking out or when they're cashing you out at the end of your meal and asking you if you're using the Disney Dining Plan. And you'll just tell them yes or no. Next is related to food, and that is quick service / counter service / table service. So these are the different types of restaurant options in Disney World. So quick service and counter service are interchangeable. These are kind of like your fast casual, you just walk up, like a Panera, a McDonald's, that kind of thing. You walk up, you order your food, or you mobile order on your app. You pick up the food, and then there is typically seating in or around that area where you ordered the food, and you eat and you go. Typically, you are responsible for clearing your own table. It depends on where you are. I feel like even the ones that you are supposed to be responsible, there's just cast members there, and they're like, how dare you throw your trash away? I will throw it away for you. At least that's been my experience. Next, you have table service. These ones you're typically going to want to make a reservation for, but not all of them allow reservations, so you're going to want to look into that. These are where you would think more of like a traditional restaurant. So if we're talking about like chains, I'm thinking like a Chili's or Red Robin, but obviously they can be like higher end restaurants. These are ones where you're going to sit down and have like maybe an appetizer, an entree, a dessert, a drink. You're going to be waited on. Also, buffets would typically, I would put them into the table service category since you're being waited on. Next is the TTC, which I should have double checked which order the T's are in. So I'm gonna say Transportation and Ticket Center, but it might be Ticket and Transportation Center because I just can't be bothered to maintain that information in my head. This is basically Magic Kingdom's parking lot. So if you're going to the Magic Kingdom, you're gonna park away from the park, unlike the other ones. And you're gonna go through the TTC, which is where, in theory, you could get tickets. If you need to buy them, you can buy tickets at every theme park. And then you're gonna get on some form of other transportation to get to the Magic Kingdom park. So that's what most people do here, is they're going to the Magic Kingdom. And so from there, you'll take a ferry or a monorail or a bus in certain situations in order to get over to across the water to the Magic Kingdom. The TTC is also a transfer station. So if you are wanting to go to Epcot and you happen, this is a lot of words. This is very complicated, I feel like. I'm sorry. I hope you know something about Disney transportation. Otherwise, I'm just going to confuse you even more. And for that, I'm sorry. I'll try to link some transportation videos I have up here. But if you are staying at like a monorail resort like the Contemporary and you want to go to Epcot, you're going to get on your monorail, go to the TTC, get off your monorail, and then transfer to the Epcot monorail, which will then take you to Epcot, or you'll do the reverse to come back. But it is mainly in Magic Kingdom's parking lot, but you're going to hear it. Last is a term, and it is rope drop. So supposedly, I've never experienced this, but I believe it happened. When the parks would open, before they would start, you would get let into the parks a little bit, and then the cast members would hold a little rope, and then when it's time for you to go in, they would drop the rope, and you would walk peacefully, there is no running, to the areas of the park you wanted to go to. So rope drop is now kind of known as like this term of when the park opens, which whether that is literally when, like if the park is scheduled to open at 8 a.m. or oftentimes, I think all the time now, every park in Disney World opens 30 minutes early to hotel guests. So that would be like 7:30 if the regular park opening was at 8. So rope drop would be at like 7:30. Now, that does not mean you want to get there at 7:30. If you're trying to rope drop, which is where you're basically trying to beat the crowds. So you're typically going to go and try to get in line immediately for like a very busy ride, like Frozen Ever After in Epcot, or Avatar in Animal Kingdom. You are trying to get there before all of the other crowds. So you still have to get through security and the ticket gate and walk through the park. So you're going to want to be there before that rope drop time, but the rope drop is like the actual getting in and everything. But that's what you'll hear with rope drop. Again, I think All Ears has several videos talking about rope dropping and different strategies, especially if you're trying to avoid purchasing a lightning lane. So yes, those are just some terms that I feel like I see a lot and maybe aren't necessarily the most intuitive to know. And they might help you if you are planning a Disney trip. Maybe I'll do this again with more like detailed things. I don't know. But these are the ones I feel like you're most likely to experience initially. So yes, but thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.